Hey everyone, I am Kim with Abundant Life Tarot, and we're going to discuss in today's video all about discernment when you are watching deck review videos. So, if you are curious as to what I'm going to say about this, stay tuned. Welcome back. So let's talk about discernment. And before we do that, I need to mention to you about my free course that I have on my website at abundantlifetarot.com. It is the Choosing Your Next Deck, Curating Your Collection. I have to put in a word on it because a lot of people are new to me, new to the channel, new to the course, and they may not know. So bear with me for those who have heard me say this. But this course will help you with discernment and how you collect decks, how you choose your next deck, how you choose your first deck if that's where you're at in your journey. It will help you. So it's a free course. Check it out, and it definitely will help you be more clear about decks that belong in your home and belong with you, or ones to pass on, or ones to not purchase in the first place. And so that's what we're talking about briefly here today. It's about discernment when you're watching YouTube videos, and not just YouTube videos. I'd imagine that people are doing deck reviews now all over the place. But understand this, everybody has a motive as to why they are talking about a deck. They could be talking about it simply because they purchased it. They want to share with you their initial thoughts about that deck, and that's all that it is. For those who have monetized channels, they may want some views, right? So they can increase their AdSense money that's coming in from Google on behalf of YouTube, right? So they might have a vested interest in how many people are looking at the videos. And so for them who have purchased these decks, they are probably, out of all the folks I'm going to talk about today, they are probably the ones that will be the most, dare I say, honest. I think everybody is honest, and I'm going to preface that right now in the beginning. Everyone is honest, I'm sure, to a degree, but again, it's all about people's motives. The content creator, what's motivating them? There's nothing good or bad about that unless you associate good or bad with it, right? So for those who made a purchase and a financial interest with their own money into a deck, they can be honest, just like they would be honest probably on an Amazon review. Now, just like with Amazon reviews, you have folks who are being gifted decks. You have folks who are receiving decks in exchange for an honest review. You have folks who, are receiving decks and they have not made a financial investment into it. So what may motivate them is a variety of things. They too may be concerned with views. They're concerned with getting more decks sent to them from other creators because now they have, and they've earned it. They have a larger following. Creators want to get the word and the buzz out about their decks, so they send these decks to the people for their honest review. Now, because a content creator may want and desire more free decks to come in, and some will say, I don't care if I get free decks or not. And I can understand and relate to those, that sentiment. But there may be people who may not admit it, or they'll admit it openly. I want free decks. I like receiving them. I like discussing them. I am honest. But let's face it, if your motivation to get more of those decks, subconsciously or consciously, you are going to create some content that leans towards supporting that deck. So it's important for us as viewers if we're looking at these deck reviews, we're looking at these first impression videos, unboxings, and we're not able to have any kind of discernment about what we're seeing and not understanding that different folks have different motivations, different strokes for different folks, right? So they may be like, I secretly, or I don't know, or maybe I do know that I want free decks to come into my world, and I want to talk more about those decks. That's not a bad motivation in and of itself. But if you are looking for a brutally honest review, just understand that if this person has been given a deck, it may be slanted. Also, to be fair, and I've said this many times before on my channel, oftentimes we're not buying decks that we just know we're going to hate. There are some tarot tubers who may buy decks that they're like, if I don't like it, I'll just be honest and give a review on it. I don't really want to have those kind of decks in my collection. It feels so too much for me. So chances are the deck that I'm reviewing, I'm loving, right? That's what's happening. I'm bonding with this deck before it even comes into my shopping cart online or in my actual shopping cart in a new age store. And then I'm off to work with it. And I'm excited because I've vetted this deck. I've researched this deck. I like this deck even before I even open the box, right? There's nothing wrong with that. And again, my motivation is to share my joy in finally connecting with this deck. But again, guys, use discernment. Understand that I may have been romanticizing this deck for months. If it's, a deck we've been following and it's finally here, it's finally is sent out, whether it was a Kickstarter, a pre-order, or a mass market produced, finally a deck that's finally dropped. Okay, so it could be anything. So again, are my motivations wrong or right? For me, I'm excited to share with you in my joy. It feels like I'm sharing Christmas with you, except I try to keep Christmas morning intimate and just for the family. But the next best thing is sharing unboxing. So, but that doesn't make it wrong. I'm just asking you as the consumer, as the deck collector, as someone who's in the market for a deck, if you are looking for honest reviews, just understand that everybody's definition of honesty is totally unique to them. We all, yes, have this general understanding that there's certain things that YouTube requires that you mention, that if you receive a product in exchange for a review, that's mentioned somewhere, right? There's even buttons that we select as content creators when that happens, that pre-fills information. You can have little disclaimers. So yeah, there's legalities, there's terms of service that is all considered. But aside from that, from everybody else, they have their different motivations as to why they have done a deck review, a deck unboxing, a first impressions, etc. You will find those folks who express how they really feel about a deck. You will. I have seen them. I've seen videos where people are like, yeah, this is a deck that I was waiting for and it wasn't that great when I got it, or this was sent to me, but I have to be honest. Here's the crux of what's going on here, and I'm not feeling it. There are people who completely do that. And so then it makes the discernment for you a little easier when you are watching these reviews. But, don't get it twisted. Don't get all your panties in a bunch when, people are going on and singing the praises of a deck, and then you purchase it and then you're dissatisfied, and then you're like, oh, well, the content creator, they weren't being really honest about because this was an issue. Well, again, even things like cardstock is a personal preference. I don't like thick cardstock because I'm using my decks, whereas other people appreciate a very thick cardstock and a thick core on the cards themselves. I get it. Everybody has personal taste, and they may not even think to mention the cardstock because it was just on their radar that they really liked the deck early on. Who knows? it's still incumbent on you as the collector, as the consumer, to get as much information as you possibly can about the deck pre-purchase, especially if it's a deck that you're spending quite a bit of money on and that you would be a little sore about if you got the deck and it was subpar. Watch multiple videos of different people's takes on the deck. Look at images if you can on Instagram, other social media, on their website, the creator's website. If you have specific questions, ask the creator. If you have an unresponsive creator on your hands, then you may have to consider whether or not this is a deck you want to purchase at this time. Maybe you would be better served to wait for the deck to come out, get some of those kinks out in the first batch that's printed. So you could do that, you know. So just, I thought it was, you know, something I should just chime in on. As someone who collects decks, I'm not a deck creator yet. I mean, who knows what the future holds, but not a deck creator. But I am a content creator. I am a deck collector. And I love making content about my unboxing experiences, my first impressions. And I saw times where people are frustrated with the deck creator or with the content creator who is recording videos about the unboxings or about the first impressions. Just understand everybody has different tastes, different motivations, and that is what they are pouring into their content. So if that all matters to you, watch a bunch of videos if you want or not. Check out my course. So you have some spreads to ask your current decks. Should you add this deck or not? Ask your own cards. There's many ways to figure out if a deck is right for you, especially if it has a hefty price tag. So there you have it, folks. That's my thoughts on discernment when you're watching videos, when you're watching deck reviews, to be specific. I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts about what I talked about today? Do you agree with what I'm saying? Do you have additional thoughts? Do you not agree? Let's chat about it in the comments below, because I'm sure people have their opinions and I want to hear from you. We all do. Take good care of yourselves, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.